Good evening. The March 20th meeting of the Golden Speakers Toastmasters will now come to order. We're here at the Fairfield Hy-Vee store at the end of the ice cream aisle. I'm Emery Styron, serving until our president, Dennis Gomez, arrives. And I would like to now turn this meeting over to our Toastmaster for tonight, Will Burns.
Thank you, Emery. Welcome, Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home, to another meeting of Golden Speakers Toastmasters. Our theme today is anything is possible. And we have a quote to go along with that theme. If we all did the things we are really capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. That was by Thomas A. Edison. I will start here by introducing the role players tonight who will be assisting behind the scenes, starting with our timer, Jean Symington Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My role this evening is timer, and I will be timing various sections of the meeting. For our prepared speech tonight, we have a speech that is 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I will put on the green. At 6 minutes, I will put on the yellow. And at 7 minutes, I will put on the red. And it will stay lit until 7:30, 7 minutes and 30 seconds, which is the last point where you can still be qualifying. I'll also be timing our evaluators. Our evaluators will be timed for 2 to 3 minutes, and I will put on the green at 2 minutes, the yellow at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and the red at 3 minutes, and then you have 30 seconds after that to finish. I'll also be timing table topics. Table topics is a 1 to 2 minute impromptu speech. I will put on the green at 1 minute, the yellow at 1 minute, 30 seconds, and the red at 2 minutes, and then you have 30 seconds to finish up. I will give my report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have our grammarian tonight, Dee Stauffer.
Yeah, the word of the day is discourse. And I have to write a sentence with that in it.
Yeah, or just what it means.
What does it mean?
It means language, people are talking, you're making a structure out of what you're saying in your language.
Good.
Okay?
And then can you just use it in a sentence?
Yeah, just wrote that down, I haven't even thought about it. The speech by Robert Kennedy when his brother was shot gave meaning to the sort of lost. All right, the when he gave the speech in Indianapolis, the discourse was about the death of Martin Luther King.
Okay, great. Good.
Thank you, Dee.
Yeah.
And in our discourse tonight, if you happen to hear any particularly unique turns of phrase or any sort of uses of the English language that astounds and kind of moves you, be sure to note that and let us know at the end so we can enjoy it twice throughout the day. Our odd counter will be Dennis Gomez, and our general evaluator is Emery Styron. Finally, our greeter joke master for the first time was Janet Everson. Thank you, Janet. And do you have a joke for us later?
I have a joke.
Great. We'll look forward to hearing later on. And now it's my pleasure to call up our first evaluator. I've actually been looking forward to Fraser's speech now for quite a while. This title really hooked me, and I'm excited. I'm always excited to hear Fraser's speeches, and this one in particular, since it sounds like a really fascinating topic. I'm pleased to call up his evaluator. Please read the objectives for Fraser's speech. Is that you, sir?
It is.
Emery.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guest, and viewer at home. Could I pause a minute? We failed to give our guest a chance to introduce himself. Would you mind just stand up and say why you're here?
Okay, I'm a friend of Fraser Jones. I've known him for like more than 30 years. We went to school together. And for a few months he's been kind of telling me about Toastmasters, and I've been thinking about it. I have a classmate who is high up in the Toastmasters in Poland, and I'm thinking that for what I want to do in my next career, I would need public speaking skills. So I'm here to figure out whether or not I can actually do this.
And your name?
My name is Philip Osborne.
Okay, thank you. And that's a pretty good setup to introduce Fraser. Fraser Jones hails from a lush green island in the Caribbean, Dominica. Fraser has decided to give us a series of talks highlighting the third world nations that are producing first-rate products and services found nowhere else in the world. Tonight his topic is Cuba, the world's biotech hub. He'll be speaking from the Advanced Communication Series, Project 2. This is a manual you can use once you've completed your Competent Communicator level. His objectives: analyze your audience regarding your chosen subject, focus your presentation at the audience's level of knowledge, build a supporting case for each major point using information gathered through research, and effectively use at least one visual aid to enhance the audience's understanding. Please welcome Fraser.
Mr. Toastmasters, fellow members, our esteemed guests, and viewers at home. Tonight, I'm going to speak about Cuba, the world's biotech hub. First, I want to allay any misgivings you may have on the topic. First of all, the mention of Cuba, it has some political connotations. But I want to assure you, this is not a political presentation. Secondly, biotech is even more controversial in this community. Some of us prefer natural, organic, and traditional products and holistic health care. However, we must have heard or probably experienced friends, family, or some people in the community dying prematurely from cancer or some other incurable disease. This is one area in which biotech is making a lot of headway. In fact, biotech can save lives. What is biotech? Biotech is the use of living systems an organization to develop or make products. I will be concentrating on medical biotech in Cuba. You may be wondering, how did Cuba get into biotech? Well, in 1980, the first synthesized interferon. Interferon is a signaling protein which is produced naturally by the body to fight pathogens. When the body is attacked, the cells produce interferon that fight the pathogens and to kill them. So Professor Field is an American professor. He visited Cuba in 1980 and gave a talk to the Cuban scientists on interferon. And he referred them to Finland, where a lot of the research was being done, and actually they were the ones that were producing interferon. So in 1981, Cuba sent 6 scientists to Finland to learn how to produce interferon. When they returned, they set up a lab in a guest house, and within 42 days, they were able to produce interferon. And they used it effectively tested it effectively in the dengue outbreak that occurred in Cuba in 1983. By 1986, they had a new center. Now there were 300 employees in the biotech. And they were churning out products by then. And within 10 years, by the end of the decade, Cuba was the pharmacist to the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc. But let's look at just 3 of the products they produced. Hepatitis B vaccine. Now, hepatitis B is one of the most common infectious diseases in the world. It is a virus that causes inflammation of the liver and can lead to acute liver failure and cirrhosis and cancer. Cuba have been using that vaccination, using it to vaccinate the kids, the firstborns, as soon as they were born since 1992. And basically, they have wiped out hepatitis B. Secondly, a diabetic foot ulcer medication. This is unique to Cuba. It's not in anywhere else in the world. They basically almost eliminate amputations due to diabetes. And as we see in the US, 1/5 of the healthcare budget goes to the treatment of diabetic patients. The third one I want to look at is Symavax. It's basically a lung cancer vaccine or treatment. Again, that's the only product in the world that does that. As you say, the production is low cost. It just costs the Cubans about $1 for each dose. In summary, Cuba has and is continuing to develop a stream of biotech products. some of which are the first of the kind in the world. They are exported worldwide. Cuba has also helped China, Malaysia, India, and Iran to set up factories to manufacture the products. You can see Cuba is the biotech hub of the world.
Thank you, Fraser. Madam Timer, may we have 2 minutes to evaluate our last speaker. And we're back. And now it's my pleasure to read the objectives for Prana's speech. To welcome up to the stage, Hudaifa Shatmari.
Okay. Fellow Toastmasters, our second speaker for tonight is Brennan. He's going to give the fifth project from the advanced manual, but he does not have that manual, so I'm going to follow the third project from the communication manual, get to the point. And the objectives of this speech is to first select a speech topic and determine its general and specific purposes. Higher, okay. Maybe I need restart. Select a speech topic and determine its general and specific purposes. Second, organize the speech in a manner that best achieves those purposes. Third, ensure the beginning, body, and conclusion. Fourth, project sincerity and convention, and control any nervousness you may feel. And finally, strive not to use notes. Brenner Miller is an MUM, Sustainable Living graduate student, or used to be student, and he has chosen agriculture. This is pre-macture? Pre-macture?
It's permaculture.
Perma,
Like permanent culture.
okay. Permaculture. Okay, energy, efficiency, and other. What's this?
Energy efficiency.
Yeah, and then and other
Career paths.
career path. Okay. He's 30 years old. He's a competent. you have shown me. I cannot read. Actually, it's not. It's read with this.
Child's.
Yeah. And he's going to give his 36 months at this club. Yeah. So please help me welcome Prana Miller for his speech. Lead with a vision.
Lead with a vision. Thank you. Thanks, Hudaifa. Life is a journey, not a destination. I don't know whose quote that was, but that is the mantra that I have kind of used in my moving company, which I started in November of 2017. I started a moving company which is called Prana Services Unlimited, and it is basically a sole proprietorship. So I'm kind of a one-man job. I do my own thing, and my grandfather started an ice cream business in 1972 or something, Carvel ice cream. So we're in the ice cream aisle. I think it's only appropriate to talk about ice cream for a little bit. Ice cream, everyone, who likes ice cream? Okay, all right, ice cream, nice. Who wants some ice cream right now? All right, that's good. All right, I don't have any, but after the meeting, we got about an hour. But my grandfather, he started the Carvel ice cream shop and he sold it for $100,000 2 to 3 years later. So he put a lot of money into this, a lot of time into it, and I guess he passed away in 2009, and I still think about what he never really told me to be a small businessman. He never told me to be an entrepreneur. I just looked up to him as a mentor. And so he had this ice cream shop, and I thought, what can I do? It was like kind of a thing, like, what can I do with my life? Everyone wants to know what to do with their life. We're all just walking around, working, eating, sleeping, but what do we really want to do with our life? So that question I asked myself in 2012 after I graduated MUM, and I realized that I could start a small business. So I started a small business in 2017, and Toastmasters has allowed me to have a better speaking ability in public when I'm vortexing with people, when I'm at everybody's and I want to just talk with someone for 30 minutes for no reason at all. So I'm just there and I'm like, I see somebody, a friend, or not a friend, just somebody who I don't know or do know, and then I start talking with them, and then I realize we have things in common, and I want to tell them about myself because I'm a small businessman, and I want to tell them what I do. So Toastmasters, my question to you all, it's been 4 weeks since I've been here, and I'm kind of reacclimating to the environment, and I'm just wondering, what are you all passionate about to the extent that you want to tell other people about it? Like, for example, you're at everybody's. I ask you, next time you go to everybody's, don't just go in and buy your groceries. Tell somebody what you do. Give them your business card. Ask them what they do, and see if you could partner with them in some way in business. And it may be a little awkward. It might not be the best place to meet somebody about business, but you can vortex with that person, and which basically means just talk with them for an extended period of time. And I have T-shirts with the definition of vortex. You can talk to me about that later if you're new to that word. But social networking. So social networking is you have a. All right, how much time do I? I don't even know how much time I have. Social networking is you have a business opportunity. For me, it's a moving company. There are. So I started in 2017 November. I bought a pickup truck after searching for 18 pickup trucks. I drove around the state and looked at every single truck I could think of. I looked for literally 18 trucks. I tried test drove every single one of them. I almost bought about 6 of them. Every single time the salesman was like, had me convinced, and almost signed the line, and then I realized, like, this isn't what I need. I need something that'll last me forever, and so it just didn't seem like the right choice. So finally, I was at Fairfield Tire, and I found this guy, Rick, I forget his last name. He knew a guy with Yoder's Eggs. Everyone, Yoder's Eggs. So Yoder's brother had a pickup truck, and he couldn't afford the payments or something, and whatever. So Yoder takes it over. Rick knows Yoder. I know Rick. Social networking. He tells me he has a truck for sale, $5,000. So I go over there. 17 trucks later, I finally buy this truck, and I have a pickup. So, that was like the first challenge, was just spending 50 hours looking for a pickup truck, and I got the pickup truck. And then the second challenge was getting the word out. I had nobody to work through. I had no clients, so that's come back to the idea of how you advertise. So for me, I made a business card, 2 guys in a truck, cheap and strong as a buck. That was my business card, cheap and strong as a buck. And then it was, something like that was it. And I had a little picture of some tools on there, my phone number, my email. I had made 250 of them, and I just handed them out. I put them at Luckman's, I put them everywhere. Put them at Everybody's, I put them at, just at Walmart, wherever. I just slipped them in, a weird place on Hy-Vee, slipped them put them like a stack of them right next to the milk sometimes, just whatever it took. My business was no longer, I was not going to spend any effort on radio, on television ads, on Facebook ads, which I did all of those things, but I didn't want to spend any more money on that because I didn't feel like it was necessary. So word of mouth, that's how I advertise. And
Do you feel like the word of mouth was superior to the cards?
the cards were definitely a necessary step, but beyond the cards, word of mouth was, like, it started with the cards and then word of mouth just took over, and word of mouth took over. Yeah, but I don't think the cards, I think the cards were still were and are necessary. Like I still have cards at Everybody's. I still restock my stash. So word of mouth was word of mouth, as well as just having a mentor and developing trust with the clients, which is critical. Developing trust, loving what I do, and moving my body, and developing a relationship and maintaining relationships with those clients. So that's how I built my company. Thank you. All right. Yes. Thanks a lot.
Madam Timer, please give us 2 minutes to evaluate Prana's speech. Welcome back. Madam Timer, which of our speakers qualified tonight?
Fraser Jones qualified.
Okay. Ordinarily, we would vote at this point. However, the issue is moot. So we will move on to the evaluation section of the meeting. Where it's my pleasure to call up our general evaluator, Emery Styron.
And good evening again, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. More than one viewer at home, we think. I'm also going to serve as the first evaluator, so I'll move right into an evaluation of Fraser's speech. Am I on track, Mr. Toastmaster?
Sounds good to me.
Oh, okay. Okay, Fraser, okay, there you are. Well, I want to address everybody, but I especially want to address Fraser and to thank you, Fraser, for making, I believe, all our worlds a little bigger tonight by telling us things we probably didn't know or ever think about. I'm going to go through the manual and touch up on the criteria the manual mentions. How well was the speech directed to the interest and background of the audience? Extremely, I would say, considering this community's multicultural flavor. We're all interested in hearing about another country. And the community interest in food and where it comes from, how it's grown, and health in general. So I think you really hit the audience right where they live, Fraser. I would have liked to have heard a stronger hook at the beginning than I'm going to tell you tonight about Cuba, the World Biotech Hub, which had already been said in the introduction. Maybe contrast the image we have of Cuba as a backward, poor country with the fact that it's a leader in biotech pharmaceuticals. What methods did the speaker use to support his major points, and how effective were those methods? Fraser's main method was fact piled on statistic piled on fact. He had lots of them. And I think they were very effective, and his slides helped, especially because there was so much information. Far too much for our brains to absorb, and the slides helped us. If we can see it as well as hear it, that helps. How did the visual aids enhance audience understanding? I thought the photograph of the Biotech Center was especially effective in breaking down that prejudice I have of Cuba as a country stuck in the 50s. And then you had photos of various pharmaceuticals, which added credibility. Some slides were a little too information-packed for my taste. I would suggest you boil that down to what we can actually absorb. How knowledgeable did the speaker appear to be on the subject? Extremely knowledgeable. The information just kept coming. The thing I would wonder is, how did you get interested in this subject? How did you come by this knowledge? I did not hear you cite a source, but that would have also added to your credibility. Speech was very well researched. I believe, I don't doubt anything I heard. I would have just liked to know where it came from. Mr. General Evaluator, I'll turn the meeting back over to you. And our next evaluator will be Hudaifa, evaluating Front. Thank you, Hudaifa.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guest, viewers at home, my family, and especially for speaker Brandon. Brenna has given a speech about lead with a vision, and regarding to the manual here, the main objective is get to the point. I'm going to follow this manual, but I will consider that he's an expert, and it's supposed to be the 36 month. First thing, the general purpose of the speech was clear. I would say no, it's not that clear. I couldn't distinguish the general purpose and the specific purpose of the speech. In the beginning, I thought the lead to a vision, or lead with a vision, will be the general purpose, and then we'll have something specific. But even get to the point was not achieved here. An example that when you said, you meet a friend, maybe not a friend, and you may know or you may not know, or this is not something major in the topic or in the speech to give details. You may say you want to explain for someone and go on. The speech organization supported the speech or the speech's specific purpose. Based on the previous statement, I didn't know what is the specific purpose. The main points and supporting material contributed to the speech specific purpose. Also, it's not clear that you started with ice cream and then social networking, then grocery, then track, and then so it's not specific, it's not clear. The beginning, body, and conclusion reinforce the specific purpose. You started with something and you end with something different. The speaker achieved the specific purpose. I'm sorry to say no. Yeah, but the speaker appeared confident and sincere with minimal nervousness. Yes, he did. The speaker did rely on notes. Yes, he relied on notes. What could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? I think if he just get to the point, clarify the general purpose and then the specific purpose and then go on. What did you like about the presentation? First thing, he spoke about a personal experience, which is, first thing, it's very important for everyone. It's not something from the moon or Mars. Second thing, he didn't speak about Bitcoins, which is something positive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Okay, the next section of our meeting is the impromptu speech section. And I'm going to call our table topics master, Janet Evertson, up. I want to commend Janet. This is her first time in this role, and she's a fairly new member, so give her a hand, especially for her courage in taking this on.
Fellow Toastmasters, good evening. I am new at this. I'm not sure the format, but I do have my table topics chosen. So who wants to volunteer? How many volunteers do I need?
I'll volunteer.
Okay, Dee, come on up.
And, oh, right now?
Huh? One at a time. Okay, good. Okay, Dee, you're first.
Okay.
You're up.
How much
All right.
time?
Now, I have, what is his timing? 5 minutes? 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
2 minutes.
One or two.
The light.
So it's
1
short.
to 2 minutes. Okay.
You can do this easy. So I want to give you a couple of choices. Are you more familiar with a right brain person or a left brain person in talking in those
Yeah.
terms?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, I know.
you like that?
Yeah,
Okay,
and there's a middle brain too.
yeah. Very good.
Actually,
Could you describe the advantages of being a right brain person versus being a left brain person?
yeah, so left brain people are more intuitive, they're more artistic. What?
Introducing Dee.
Okay, left brain people tend to be more intuitive, more artistic. Right brain people are more analytical. And there's the middle of the brain. Okay? So I met a neurosurgeon in Marin County who does surgery on people with brain injuries. And the interesting thing is, everybody knows what your corpus callosum is? It's this between the two brains. And he did a study, he worked with people who had mental issues, brain problems. He was also a musician. He played piano. So the thing about left and right brain, if you want to increase that, is play a piano. Because the left hand works the right side of the brain, and the right hand works the left side of the brain. And this guy was a surgeon. And he had noticed that people who were musicians had a thicker corpus callosum. They were bigger. They tend to be more intelligent, more integrated. So right brain versus left brain, a lot of people are real right brain focused. Some people are more left brain. They tend to be more intuitive. Right brain, you tend to be more analytical. So the thing to do, what do? Well, do things like this. You know, you're working the right side of the body and the left side of the body. So that helps to integrate. So think about athletes, you know, basketball players or swimmers. Anybody know who Greg Louganis is? You ever heard? Yeah, he's a diver. So think about you're up in the air. you're swirling around, you're somersaulting back and forth. So you're integrating both the left side of your body and the right side of your body. So the thing to do, if you want to integrate more, is do athletic things where you're using both the tennis players. Okay. Oh, I stay up there, okay. I saw the mic off and I freaked. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Excellent job. Appreciate that.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, who's our next volunteer for table topics? Veda? Thank you. All right, let's see. I'm gonna jump down here. Regarding right brain people and left brain people, sometimes they don't see eye to eye or they get irritated with each other for the differences. Do you feel both types should accept and appreciate their differences? Then tell us how that would affect the world. Or if you'd like to do the opposite, you could, if they don't want to appreciate. If you feel they should judge or dislike each other, tell how that would affect the world. Too many questions? Probably.
I have another question. Just
I think you'll
could
like
you
this
please
one.
define right brain versus
Yes.
left brain?
Okay. In my memory, I think the right brain is the more artistic, and the left brain is the analytic and the scientific. Let's take a vote. Right brain, artistic? Anybody?
Not gonna vote.
1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll look it up.
It's okay.
Depends on your job. Okay, that doesn't matter, but we know the differences completely. Okay,
Okay, so just repeat the question.
Yeah.
The right brain is artistic and the left brain is?
scientific and more of a linear thinker. The right brain is going to go more nonlinear. So how would it affect the world if they could accept and appreciate each other's differences? Okay?
Thank you, Madam Topic Masters. Honored Toastmasters, guests at home. I'm coming here tonight with no brain. I was just sitting in a lecture, interfering with Toastmasters, trying to do everything in my life, and I fell asleep. So I'm not really clear about what I'm going to be speaking about tonight to match the unclarity of the topic. But I will say that I enjoy my brain. Right or left, good or bad, right or wrong, liberal or conservative. I think that the difference of right or left brain is a bit of a myth. We've found that to be true. If, for instance, someone has a stroke, they find that the functions of the side of the brain that has a stroke can be taken over anywhere in the brain, including all the way on the other side. And it's a good trick to, for instance, take someone who can't speak and perhaps tell them to sing it. And they may be able to do that because those are actually different sides of the brain. So I think we can have a lot of insight into the brain, and the original experiments to do that led to very simplified conclusions. However, there is the question of people getting along who think differently. I think it's really important that people who have different approaches to life realize that there's more than one approach. There's more than one way of going down the street. You know, you can have the far right, the radical right versus the radical left, and you'll find that they're both off the charts in some odd ways, but they actually end up agreeing because they just are willing to think differently about the way we run our lives. So that's about as good as I can do tonight, Janet.
Thank you very much. Okay, do we have a third? Jean, come on up. Jean?
Timer's a hard job.
It is, I know. Whatever. So I have a question for you to do for your table topic. Do you think Mayor Malloy will win the Senate? And why or why not? Thank you.
Fellow Toastmasters, Madam Topics Master, honored guests, viewers at home. I know that Mayor Malloy is running in the Democratic primary against Mary Stewart from Ottumwa. Honestly, I am not going to touch that topic. It's politics, and I am very happy to engage with politics at another time.
You want
But I'm going to practice a segue now because I'm going to move into, just Democrats and Republicans at large, which I'm happy to talk about a bit, realizing that there may be some temperatures rising as a result. It is interesting to me, and I don't know about others, but I am very interested in seeing what's going to happen in the midterm elections coming up, this election period in 2018. If you read anything in news, you're seeing comments about a blue wave and a Democratic wave coming in, and you see Republicans wondering if they're going to be able to hold on, and there's just a lot in the balance for that. I don't know which way it's going to go. I have ideas of which way I'd like it to go, but I really don't know what's going to happen. And meanwhile, we have our president who is sometimes going one way or the other and affecting outcomes either way. So that's a whole wild card in and of itself. I think the local election material, election candidates and all of that are all very interesting. I consider them friends, both sides, and I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. I wish everybody could win. I kind of feel that way. Maybe that's a synchrony of my left and my right brain, because I want everybody to win and nobody have to lose. At the same time, though, I do have myself wondering about the size of my I'm sorry to say colonoscopy. No, my corpus callosum. And I think in the meantime, while we're waiting for all that political stuff, I'm going to work on that to make sure I'm my best.
Thank you, Jean. Well handled.
Yeah.
Any more? Do we want to do more table topics? I don't know how many we were going to
Probably do one more.
One more? Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's okay.
Keep an eye on the lights.
I was really surprised I'm doing this.
No problem. You'll do great. So I noticed the specifics of my questions weren't really followed, so maybe we'll try to follow those specifics this time. Okay. Describe how you feel left brain dominant people treat right brain dominant people. No, too hard, okay. This is a subject I'm obviously interested in. Okay, simpler.
Well, you can ask me a question. You can ask me
Uh-huh.
whether I'm thinking I'm right or
Yes,
left.
do you know which one you feel more dominant in and how that plays out in your life?
All right.
Thank
well,
you.
Here's a
Thank you. Well, the reason why I asked her to ask me that is because when I went to college, I ended up in a situation having graduated and not quite having a dominance because I graduated with a degree in music and computer science,
Nice.
which surprised me. I mean, I went there to be pre-med, but something happened along the way and I was kind of sucked into music. And then I went to New York and I saw a concert which completely blew me away. It was by Charles Dodge, who was the father of speech synthesis at AT&T. And he presented a concert. It was called, what is it called? It was an opera, basically. The opera was actually composed and performed digitally by a computer. Everything was done by the computer. The liturgy, the voice, the orchestration, et cetera, et cetera. And when I went back to my college after that term in New York, I changed my major and did, a dual degree in music and computer science. And I found that to be useful in my career because when I went for a job, I went for a job interview in Cleveland after I graduated, and the guy asked me like what I majored in college, and I said music and computer science, and I could hear another guy on the phone with him. He was just rolling on the floor. I mean, and I thought, oh my God, I'm doomed. This is never going to happen. Okay. But then when I got to Washington, D.C., I got in an interview with a consulting company in Bethesda. And this guy asked me, okay, what did you major in? And I said, music and computer science. And I described a project that I did, which basically was, I created a language to do music analysis based on some work done by a Russian mathematician, kind of a paint by numbers scheme. And the guy hired me on the spot. And I found out later that the best programmers at IBM were musicians. So I thought, well, maybe I'm not so crazy after all. So I think, I'm kind of both, and I think that, it makes my life much richer.
Really good purpose colossal.
I hope so.
Does that complete your question?
That completes our table topics for tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janet. And Ms. Timer, are you able to say which table topic speakers qualified and give their names?
Dee, Vega, and myself. Me.
Okay, please vote for Dee, Veda, or Jean. The ballots have been collected, and now we'll move to our final evaluator tonight, Dan Craig, who will evaluate table topics. Please welcome Dan.
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow members, honored guests, viewers at home. Tonight we heard various discourses on the shades of topic, right brain, left brain, and we heard some interesting things come out. Our first speaker tonight was Dee. I'll start right off with my suggestion for Dee, the only suggestion I've got. I think before you start, take just a while to organize your thoughts. You've got up to 30 seconds. In this case, you started talking before Janet could make her escape. But you had some real pluses. You started out with a a good story. You said, I've got a friend who's, I think you said a neurosurgeon, but also a musician. He said that the corpus callosum in people that play music is thicker. You know, that's very interesting stuff and quite on point. And I also liked that you used some physicality in part of your answer. You were talking about ways to integrate the two parts. I don't think that was right. I need some work. But nice job. Our second speaker was Veda. I liked a lot about Veda's talk. He did greet the audience. He did take just a bit of time to think about it. What I liked in particular was that he was brave enough to say, now wait a minute, I need to know exactly what that question means. Give me a little clarity here. I don't think I've ever done that before, but that's obviously a good idea. And he started with a good joke. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here tonight to talk about the brain. I have no brain myself. I'm sorry. I thought the only suggestions really were just a couple things. One was a few times you just said, well, I'm not clear enough, I can't do this. In a way, that's going to take away from anything that you say. And I noticed a little habit, I'm not sure how much you do it, but you tended to have one hand in a pocket and gesture with the other hand. It would be a little more natural to do with both. Our third speaker was Jean Symington Craig. She greeted the audience. She had her various good methods of connecting with the audience, very natural gestures, vocal variety. She can't help herself. I was a little confused about her segueing. She wouldn't talk about a specific race, but then she was going to talk about the Democrats and Republicans. I thought she was kind of going out of the frying pan into the fire, maybe, but she managed to tiptoe around it, and no one was injured. Gosh, I forgot to write down the suggestion. In my shorthanded X is the suggestion, and it's blank. So I'll have to think about it some more. But I live with her, so I can tell her later.
I understand your situation.
And finally, we heard from Phil. We're very glad that our guest was brave enough to come up, and you did a great job. Really quite an interesting talk. I wish that you had stayed within your time. That was really the only thing that you didn't quite do. Everything else was quite good. I like that you were strong enough to suggest your own question. We had a very proactive group tonight. A good story to start out, how you came about your unusual college major when you went to see the concert, the opera done entirely by computer programming. That led to an angle on how this has helped in your life. It also moved you into a conclusion where you said that even though I took this unusual path, it has helped me a lot in my life. The only conclusion besides watching the lights, boy, those are interesting colors, that I noticed for you is it's sometimes you're speaking like this, and then when you use your hands, it's just so much more natural in engaging with the audience, and then it's just a little bit less natural to do that.
So I'm surprised that I actually did this.
Good job.
Okay, well, good job.
Thank you, thanks. And again, Madam Timer, can you tell us which evaluators qualified and give their names?
Were we giving the table topics evaluator any more time, or did he just go over on his own? By the way, if the timer starts flashing pink and navy and all the other kinds of lights at you, that means you're over.
Okay.
Which I was trying to do. Okay, so, there's good stuff here. So the people who qualified were Emory.
Okay. Well, we will dispense with voting on the best evaluator. I will now call for the reports. Madam Timer, are you prepared to report?
Yes. For our speakers, Fraser spoke for 7 minutes, 25 seconds. Prana spoke for 7 minutes, 39 seconds, almost.
Yeah, not really. Close enough.
Table topics, D was 2 minutes, Veda was 2 minutes, 17 seconds. I was 2 minutes, 23 seconds, and Philip was 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Speech evaluators, Emory was 3 minutes and 30 seconds, just in there. Hudaifa, 4 minutes and 3 seconds, and Dan, 5 minutes and 4 seconds.
Thank you. And D, can you give us a grammarian's report?
Everybody here.
Everybody with him.
They all gave a discourse. That was the word. The only person that used it was Will in the beginning.
Oh,
But I did like-
could you rise so everyone
Everybody
can
rose, but he-
can
oh,
see you?
But, oh, okay. I stand up?
Yeah, stand up so everybody
Oh,
can
okay.
hear and see you as
Yeah,
you
the
talk.
only person that used it was Will in the beginning, because he said we were gonna,
I believe Dan also used it. We talked about discourse.
oh, you did? I didn't catch it. All right, Dan did.
You had to find it so we know what we're doing.
Okay?
Okay, did you hear any
okay.
sparkling words of phrase?
Vortex was used, Ronnie used the word vortex. It was, when he was describing, vortex is like a dervish, or you can think of a climate. So you were, I don't remember.
About
the-
social
Vortex.
Yeah,
is a-
social, you used the word vortex.
Yeah,
in
thank
social
you.
network.
Vortex is a verb, that caught mine.
Yeah, yeah.
Unusual usage. Our all counter, Dennis Comets.
We had Fraser Jones had 1 2 ums, 1 so. Prana had about 5 2 ums, 1 and. Emory had 2 yeah, and Hudaifa had 1 1 and 1 and. D, I counted 1 Beta, I counted 1 Jean and Dan, I wasn't paying good enough attention to catch anything, so congratulations, you're both clean. You're both clean today. And Phil, I just counted 1 so exceptional job. Well done.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from our greeter joke master, Janet.
Fellow Toastmasters, the joke tonight was my first attempt at table topics. Forgive me. But anyway, it was fun. All right, so here's our joke. It's a short one. Well, I got a photo from a speedy camera today, but I returned it immediately because it was way too expensive and it was very bad quality. I like that one. Should we have one more? Quickie? Okay. Last night I dreamt I was walking on a beautiful beach. That explains the footprints I found in the cat box.
Thank you, Janet. Hey, you're getting it. You're getting it. Okay, as general evaluator, it's my turn to make some comments on the discourse of the evaluators and some general comments about the meeting. I'll start with Hudaifa. I think Hudaifa had a challenging assignment tonight. He's a relatively new Toastmaster, though he's given quite a few speeches in a short time. He's evaluating Prana, who, did we hear, have been a Toastmaster for 36 months?
Once,
Yeah.
as of November
Okay.
2015.
So, new Toastmaster evaluating a very experienced Toastmaster. But our job as evaluators is to be kind, but to be honest, to give our evaluatees useful information they can use to improve. And I think Hudaifa succeeded very well in that. He had some praise to give Prana, but he also kind of laid it on the line, didn't he, Prana? And that was his job, and he did it well. Dan, as an evaluator, Dan is always smiling, always friendly and good humored, so he just makes everybody feel good when he gets up here. And he had the challenge of evaluating his spouse. Kind but honest. Again, so, and he had specific suggestions and praise for each of the table topic speakers. I'm not going to attempt to evaluate myself, so we'll just skip over that. I will give a suggestion to Janet on table topics. I'll evaluate myself since I assigned you and we talked about it a little. I should have coached you a little more on that, and just something to remember for you and anyone who is a first-time table topics master is the goal is to make it easy and to get people talking. We don't want to make it too hard. We don't want them to have to think too much, and so better to throw out softball questions that they can jump on and go with. But it was a very interesting subject, and it produced some really good thoughts.
I just have a question on it. Should you make the topic more general or more specific or
Simple.
simple?
Simple
is the word.
And have short questions that you can get out quick to allow as many speakers as we can get in. Yes, Jean?
And also to avoid questions that can be answered with a yes or a no.
Right.
You want to have it be open.
So at this point, I want to turn the meeting back over to our Toastmaster, Will Burns. Thank you, Will.
All right, I'm starting to get a little anxious here so far from the lectern for so long. And now it's the
Lectern withdrawal.
yeah, I had a lectern withdrawal
Take it home with you.
is a thing. Okay, it's time for the awards. First off, best speaker, keeping within the time, Fraser Jones. Next, best evaluator, keep it within the time, Emery Styron. And finally, best table topics, Dee Stoffer.
Thank you.
Enjoy. And now it's my pleasure, it's my honor to call up our president, Dennis Gomez.
Thank you, everybody, first of all, for your participation and everything. It's been great to have you guys. Very well done. Phil, if you'd like to tell us what you thought about the meeting, you did a great job.
Impressed.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed, and I think I'll be back.
You think?
Yeah, we need more musicians in the room, so please, you're always welcome. One first topic I'd like to talk about is the area contest will be this Saturday, right here, 9 o'clock. So for everybody who is going to be a contestant, please show up. For everybody else who is not a contestant but wants to show up, which hopefully all of you guys can make some room in your calendar for this Saturday morning, please show up right here.
Just to be clear, we need to be here at 9, or should we?
Registration is at 9 o'clock. So
Okay.
yes, I'd prefer everybody be here at 9 because we could use probably some extra help with role playing.
Sure.
And that is one topic I want to get to right now is role players. So I have not received yet a response. I was a bit late in my email correspondence with Paul, our area director, regarding the contest. But we do need to get some volunteers potentially if we do need role player assistance. Do we have any of you here who would be volunteering yourselves Saturday morning for role player? So see, Veda, Janet, Dan, Will, good. So we already got 4. I'll mark all you guys down. So I appreciate it very much, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys this Saturday. The 24th at 9 o'clock. Yeah, this Saturday at 9 o'clock. And even if you guys don't have if we don't, for some reason, if he has everything covered, then for sure you guys will still be able to enjoy the contest and everything, and be able to get some ice cream after. Get some Ben and Jerry's or something, you know.
I can sign up.
Yeah, exactly.
Next
See?
time is some ice cream.
See, there you go. Of course, people with Ben and Jerry's. I like it. Yeah,
Ben and Jerry's on me.
right on.
On the, yeah.
Do we have any other volunteers for Saturday? I believe we do have also our dues due very, very soon. The sooner the better. Would you like to discuss that quick, Dan, about the dues? Just a reminder from Dan Craig.
The reminder about dues is that April 1st begins a semi-annual period for us. We pay 6 months at a time, that's $63. And I have to have it collected before the end of the month so I can turn it into Toastmasters before that happens so that we're in good standing as a club. Cash, check, or credit card. If you use a credit card, we charge a $2 fee. We pass on a fee that we have to pay. And if it's possible, I could still take the next week, but if it's possible for people to deal with it tonight, that would certainly be appreciated.
Did you send an email out?
I sent an email just before the meeting.
So the deadline would be next week, Wednesday.
The drop dead deadline is next week. Yeah,
How much is
$63 for 6 months. Thank you, Mr. President. Last thing, Will and I are both be available to deal with credit cards or to gobble up the cash.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Dan, real quick, what's the fee?
$63.
including, do you pay cash?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're 65 with a credit card.
Gold, cash, and
Bitcoin. We do accept Litecoin.
Bitcoin.
You can send it to me and I'll send it to Dan.
See you
Figure out the
Okay,
Litecoin.
Are there any other questions regarding dues and payments? Nothing else? Okay, one quick announcement. I will say we do have some transition of officers that will be taking place. So we have a new secretary who will be on board. We're very happy that we are arranging. Well, actually, he's not here today, but yeah, we will get to that soon. Yeah, I can cut it short if needed.
Oh, no,
Oh, okay.
no, I was just telling me to keep my mouth shut.
Oh,
Me telling myself.
oh, okay, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll be announcing that soon, next officers meeting. And for myself too, I will be also transitioning. I will, with my workload right now, our business is booming at Ideal. That does mean though that I need to put first thing first. My full-time job right now is taking a lot of hours, so for me to do the best job as president, it's not realistic for the next 3 months. I'll be finding someone else to replace me for the next 3 months and be leaving the club for this moment. So next week or the week after will be my last one for this fiscal year with the club. So I appreciate my time with everybody. It's been a good time. It was a tough call to make, but I had to call it because I want to make sure whoever is in charge is willing to dedicate the time and has the resources to dedicate the time. With our business booming, you gotta prioritize sometimes, and that's life. So I appreciate it from everybody, and you guys have a great evening. Yeah.
Captain of our ship, man.
So thank you. Thank you all for your hard work this year, though. It's been a good time. So see you guys all next week for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else? Questions wise? Well, congratulations. We're actually on time with our meeting ending today. So thank you.